The Nile, lifeblood of ancient Egypt, its waters a source of sustenance, its rhythm a heartbeat echoing through the ages. For the ancient Egyptians, life was a tapestry woven with music and motion, dance an inseparable part of their world. From grand ceremonies to intimate gatherings, dance punctuated their existence. A celebration of life, a bridge to the divine. Imagine the sun-drenched land thousands of years ago. Hear the echoes of drums and flutes carried on the desert breeze. Picture the vibrant colours, the swirling fabrics, the rhythmic movements of dancers. This was ancient Egypt, a civilization that embraced dance in all its forms. Dance was not merely entertainment, it was a language, a way to communicate with the gods, to honour their pharaohs, to express joy and sorrow. It was woven into the very fabric of their society, a testament to their deep connection with the rhythms of life and the cosmos. The walls of ancient Egyptian tombs and temples whisper stories. Stories told not just in hieroglyphs and carvings, but in vibrant images of dancers. These paintings, frozen moments in time, offer a glimpse into the past. They capture the grace, the athleticism, and the sheer joy of dance in ancient Egypt. Look closely at the murals. Notice the elegant postures of the dancers, their limbs contorted in seemingly impossible positions. See the energy radiating from their bodies, the smiles on their faces. These images are not mere decorations, they are snapshots of a culture that lived and breathed dance. The tombs of the nobles are particularly revealing. Here, scenes of daily life unfold, including depictions of dancers entertaining at banquets. These images show us that dance was not just for rituals and ceremonies, it was also a part of everyday life, a source of pleasure and amusement. The evidence is clear. Dance was ubiquitous in ancient Egypt, permeating every level of society. From the pharaoh to the peasant, everyone danced. In the ancient Egyptian worldview, dance held cosmic significance. It was believed to have played a role in the creation of the universe. The god Osiris, often depicted as a mummified king, was also a god of vegetation and rebirth. His annual festival included dances that celebrated the cycle of life, death, and resurrection. Pharaohs used dance to assert their authority and connect with the divine. They performed rituals and dances to reinforce their status as intermediaries. These performances were grand spectacles designed to inspire awe. The said festival was a jubilee celebration performed by pharaohs after 30 years of rule. It included rituals and dances to rejuvenate the pharaoh's strength. Dance was a powerful tool to connect with the divine and ensure cosmic order. Who were these dancers who moved with such grace and precision? They came from all walks of life. Some were priests and priestesses trained from childhood to perform sacred rituals. Others were professional entertainers hired to perform at banquets and festivals. Among the most skilled and revered dancers were the women of the House of Music. These women, often attached to temples, dedicated their lives to music and dance. They were highly trained musicians, singers and dancers, and their performances were considered to be offerings to the gods. There were also specialized dancers, such as the Mu dancers, who performed acrobatic dances, and the dwarf dancers, who were often employed by the wealthy for their entertainment value. Regardless of their status, all dancers played an important role in Egyptian society, using their bodies and movements to connect with the divine, to entertain, and to tell stories. The ancient Egyptians were masters of adornment, and dance costumes were no exception. From the simplest linen kilts to elaborate headdresses and jewellery, dancers adorned themselves in ways that enhanced their movements and added to the visual spectacle. Female dancers often wore long, flowing dresses made of sheer linen. These dresses, sometimes pleated or draped, allowed for freedom of movement while still revealing the contours of the body. They might also wear beaded nets or vests over their dresses, adding another layer of texture and sparkle. Headdresses were an important part of the costume, often signifying the dancer's role or status. Some dancers wore simple wreaths of flowers, while others donned elaborate headdresses made of feathers, beads, and precious metals. These headdresses, some reaching several feet in height, would have swayed and shimmered with the dancer's every move. Dancers also wore jewellery, both real and costume. Necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and anklets all added to the visual impact of the performance. The jingle of these ornaments provided a rhythmic accompaniment to the music and enhanced the dancer's movements. No discussion of ancient Egyptian dance would be complete without mentioning the music. Music and dance were inseparable, each enhancing and complementing the other. The ancient Egyptians had a rich musical tradition, and their instruments were as varied as their dances. Percussion instruments played a central role, providing the driving rhythms that fueled the dances. Drums of various sizes and shapes were essential. Some were played with the hands, others with sticks. Clappers, cymbals, and sistrums, a type of rattle, added to the percussive texture. Wind instruments such as flutes, oboes, and clarinets provided melodies and harmonies. The flute, in particular, was a popular instrument, its haunting sound evocative of both joy and sorrow. String instruments such as harps, lyres, and lutes added depth and richness to the music. Imagine the sound of these instruments combined with the rhythmic clapping and chanting of the audience. The music would have been both exhilarating and hypnotic, transporting the dancers and viewers alike to another realm. Dance in ancient Egypt was not limited to religious rituals and funerary rites. It was also an integral part of celebrations, festivals, and everyday life. Dances were performed to celebrate births, marriages, harvests, and victories in battle. One of the most important festivals was the annual flooding of the Nile. This event, upon which all life in Egypt depended, was celebrated with great joy and abandon. Dances were performed to honor Hapi, the god of the Nile, and to ensure a bountiful harvest. Fertility dances, often performed by women, were another important genre. These dances, meant to ensure the continuation of life and the prosperity of the land, were characterized by their sensuality and earthiness. They often involved gestures and movements that mimicked the act of procreation. These celebratory dances, filled with joy, energy, and a zest for life, remind us that the ancient Egyptians, while deeply spiritual, also knew how to have fun. Death for the ancient Egyptians was not an end but a transition. It was a journey to the afterlife, a realm where the deceased would live on in spirit form. Dance played a crucial role in these funerary rituals, helping to guide the deceased on their journey and to ensure their safe passage to the underworld. Mourners often performed dances expressing grief and lamenting the loss of their loved ones. These dances, slow and mournful, were often accompanied by the wailing of mourners and the playing of flutes. Other dances, performed by priests and priestesses, were intended to appease the gods and to ensure the deceased's safe passage to the afterlife. These dances were often highly ritualized, involving specific steps, gestures, and incantations. One of the most important funerary rituals was the opening of the mouth ceremony. This ritual, intended to restore the deceased's senses and allow them to eat, drink, and speak in the afterlife, involved a series of symbolic gestures, including the use of a ritual adze to touch the mouth of the deceased's mummy or statue. The sands of time have buried much of ancient Egyptian civilization, yet the echoes of their dances still resonate. We find them in the graceful movements of belly dance, a dance form with roots in ancient Egyptian rituals and traditions. The undulating torso, the fluid arm movements, the emphasis on feminine grace and sensuality. These elements of belly dance can be traced back to the dances depicted in ancient Egyptian art. While the exact steps and movements have evolved over the centuries, the essence of ancient Egyptian dance lives on. The influence of ancient Egyptian dance can also be seen in other art forms, from the stylized movements of Egyptian folk dances to the choreography of modern ballets and operas inspired by ancient Egyptian themes. Dance in ancient Egypt was more than just entertainment. It was a way of life, a language, a bridge to the divine. Through dance, the ancient Egyptians expressed their deepest beliefs and connected with the rhythms of the cosmos. The legacy of ancient Egyptian dance lives on in the images carved on tombs and temples. As we gaze upon the pyramids and temples, let us remember the dances that once animated these spaces. Let us marvel at the enduring power of dance to connect us to the past. Few figures in history command the awe and intrigue of Alexander the Great. His name echoes through the annals of time, a symbol of unparalleled ambition and military genius. This Macedonian king, born in 356 BC, conquered vast swathes of the ancient world, creating an empire that stretched from Greece to Egypt and into the heart of Asia. His campaigns were marked by strategic brilliance and relentless determination, leaving an indelible mark on the course of Western civilization. His influence extended beyond the battlefield, shaping the cultural and intellectual landscape of the regions he conquered. Yet the final resting place of this legendary conqueror remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. Despite numerous accounts and theories, the exact location of Alexander's tomb has eluded discovery for over 2 millennia. The search for Alexander's tomb has captivated historians, archaeologists and treasure hunters for centuries, each driven by the hope of uncovering one of the greatest archaeological finds of all time, fueled by tantalizing clues and a profound desire to uncover the secrets buried within. Ancient texts and historical records provide hints, but none have led to a definitive discovery. The significance of finding Alexander's tomb extends far beyond the recovery of lost treasure or the confirmation of historical records. It represents a bridge to the past, a direct link to one of history's most influential figures. Within that lost mausoleum lies the potential to unlock a deeper understanding of Alexander himself, his beliefs, his ambitions, and his legacy. The artifacts and inscriptions within could provide unprecedented insights into his life and the era he dominated. The tomb's discovery would offer invaluable insights into the funerary practices, artistry and cultural exchange of the Hellenistic period, a time when Alexander's conquests forged connections between East and West. In 323 BC, at the age of 32, Alexander the Great's triumphant reign was cut short in Babylon. The circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in mystery, with theories ranging from illness to poisoning. Some accounts describe a high fever, while others point to the possibility of assassination by rivals within his own ranks. Regardless of the cause, Alexander's death plunged his vast empire into chaos. Without a clear heir, his generals, known as the Diadochi, engaged in a bitter power struggle that would last for decades. Amidst this turmoil, the fate of Alexander's body became a matter of immediate concern. Tradition dictated that a king of Alexander's stature deserved a lavish burial and a magnificent tomb. However, the logistics of preserving and transporting his body presented a considerable challenge in the ancient world. The journey from Babylon to his Macedonian homeland was long and arduous, and the summer heat posed a significant risk of decomposition. One of Alexander's most trusted generals, Ptolemy the Vasoter, ultimately took possession of the king's body. Ptolemy, a man of great ambition and vision, saw in Alexander's remains not just the body of a fallen leader, but a powerful symbol that could cement his own authority and legacy. Ptolemy, who would later establish himself as the ruler of Egypt, initially transported Alexander's remains to Memphis, the ancient capital of Egypt. Memphis, a city steeped in history and tradition, was a fitting temporary resting place for the great conqueror. The journey to Memphis was a grand procession, reflecting the reverence and respect Alexander commanded even in death. There, Alexander was embalmed by Egyptian priests, masters of the art of preserving the dead. The embalming process was intricate and sacred, involving rituals and techniques perfected over millennia. The priests, with their deep knowledge of mummification, ensured that Alexander's body would be preserved for eternity, a testament to his enduring legacy. Memphis, however, was not intended to be Alexander's final resting place. Ptolemy had grander plans, envisioning a tomb that would reflect the greatness of Alexander and serve as a symbol of his own rule. The discussions and planning for this monumental task were extensive, involving architects, artisans, and scholars. Ptolemy envisioned a grander tomb for his former king and comrade, a monument that would not only honor Alexander, but also legitimize Ptolemy's own claim to power and his vision for a new Hellenistic dynasty in Egypt. The construction of this tomb was a massive undertaking, requiring resources and labor on an unprecedented scale. It was a project that would take years to complete, but Ptolemy was determined to see it through. Thus began the construction of a magnificent tomb in Alexandria, the vibrant cosmopolitan city Ptolemy founded on the shores of the Mediterranean. Alexandria, with its strategic location and cultural significance, was the perfect site for Alexander's final resting place. The city itself was a testament to Ptolemy's vision, a melting pot of cultures and ideas, reflecting the Hellenistic ideals of knowledge and progress. The exact location and design of this tomb remain a subject of debate, but historical accounts describe a structure of remarkable grandeur, adorned with precious materials and guarded by a contingent of soldiers. The tomb was not just a burial site, but a monument to Alexander's achievements and Ptolemy's aspirations. It was a place where the past and future converged, a symbol of continuity and change. Alexander's tomb in Alexandria quickly became a site of pilgrimage and veneration. People from all walks of life, from scholars to soldiers, made the journey to pay their respects. The tomb became a focal point for the Hellenistic world, a place where people could connect with the legacy of Alexander and the new era Ptolemy was ushering in. People from across the Hellenistic world flocked to pay their respects to the fallen conqueror, transforming his tomb into a symbol of Alexander's enduring legacy and Ptolemy's burgeoning power. The tomb was more than just a final resting place. It was a beacon of hope and inspiration, a reminder of the greatness that could be achieved through vision and determination. Alexander's journey did not end with his death. It continued through the lives and aspirations of those who came after him, forever etched in the annals of history. Despite its initial prominence, Alexander's tomb in Alexandria seemingly vanished from the historical record. This disappearance has puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries, sparking numerous quests and expeditions to uncover its secrets. The tomb, once a symbol of Alexander the Great's unparalleled legacy, now exists only in the annals of history and the imaginations of those who seek it. While ancient writers provided detailed descriptions of the tomb's splendor and the rituals performed there, concrete information about its precise location and ultimate fate remains elusive. These descriptions paint a picture of a grand mausoleum adorned with precious metals and intricate carvings, a fitting tribute to one of history's most legendary figures. Yet, despite these vivid accounts, the physical evidence of the tomb's existence has remained frustratingly out of reach. Over the centuries, numerous theories have been proposed to explain the tomb's disappearance. Scholars have pored over ancient texts, debated the reliability of historical accounts, and examined every clue with meticulous care. Some suggest that the tomb was hidden deliberately to protect it from grave robbers, while others believe it was simply forgotten as the city of Alexandria evolved and expanded. Some historians believe that the tomb was destroyed during periods of unrest and upheaval that plagued Alexandria throughout its history. The city, a melting pot of cultures and a hub of trade, was no stranger to conflict. Riots, invasions, and political turmoil could have easily led to the tomb's destruction, its treasures looted, and its structure reduced to rubble. Earthquakes, fires, and the destructive fury of various conquerors all left their mark on the city, potentially obliterating Alexander's tomb in the process. Natural disasters, such as the devastating earthquake of 365 AD, reshaped the landscape of Alexandria, toppling buildings and altering the course of history. Fires, too, ravaged the city, consuming everything in their path, including perhaps the final resting place of Alexander the Great. Another theory suggests that the tomb might have been lost more gradually, swallowed by the shifting sands of time. As centuries passed, the once majestic structure could have been buried beneath layers of sand and debris, hidden from view and forgotten by the world. Nature, relentless and unyielding, has a way of reclaiming what was once hers, erasing the marks of human achievement. Alexandria's coastline is known to have shifted over the centuries, with portions of the ancient city now submerged beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. The relentless advance of the sea, combined with the gradual erosion of the coastline, has transformed the landscape dramatically. Entire sections of the city, once bustling with life, now lie beneath the waves, silent witnesses to a bygone era. It is possible that Alexander's tomb, or at least parts of it, met a similar fate, buried beneath layers of sediment and lost to the encroaching sea. Underwater archaeological explorations have uncovered remnants of ancient Alexandria, offering tantalizing glimpses into the past. Yet the tomb of Alexander the Great remains elusive, a mystery waiting to be unraveled by future generations of explorers and historians. Death in ancient Egypt was not an end, but a transition, a pause before embarking on a perpetual journey to the afterlife. This belief fueled the practice of mummification, a complex and sacred ritual designed to preserve the physical body for the soul's eternal existence. The Egyptians believed that the soul, or Ka, needed a physical form to inhabit in the afterlife. Mummification, therefore, was not merely about preserving the deceased, but about ensuring their successful transition and journey in the next world. This meticulous process transformed the deceased into an eternal being, ready to face the challenges and rewards of the afterlife. Imagine the hustle and bustle of ancient Egypt. The hot desert sun beats down on the land. The Nile River flows serenely, its banks teeming with life. Amidst this vibrant backdrop, a death has occurred, casting a somber shadow over the community. Yet there is no despair, only a quiet acceptance of the next stage of existence. For the Egyptians, death was simply a transition, a doorway to another realm. And to navigate this passage successfully, one needed the proper preparation, mummification. The Egyptians were deeply spiritual people. Their lives revolved around the cycles of nature and the promise of life after death. Central to this belief was the concept of the Ka, the spiritual essence or soul of an individual. This Ka played a vital role in the afterlife. It was believed to journey to the underworld, face judgment, and ultimately, if deemed worthy, achieve eternal life. But for the Ka to survive, it needed a vessel, a physical form to return to. Hence, the elaborate and highly ritualized process of mummification evolved. This intricate procedure, shrouded in mystery and steeped in symbolism, was not merely about preserving the body from decay. It was about preparing the deceased for an eternal voyage, ensuring that they had everything they needed to navigate the trials and tribulations of the underworld and emerge triumphant in the afterlife. The intricacies of mummification varied greatly depending on social status and wealth. Elaborate procedures reserved for the elite, like pharaohs and high-ranking officials, involved meticulous organ removal and preservation using expensive resins and perfumes. Commoners, however, received a more simplified version, often involving less intricate organ treatment and simpler wrappings. Interestingly, even animals held a place in the afterlife. Beloved pets and animals deemed sacred, like cats, were often mummified, their treatment reflecting the reverence they held in Egyptian society. Imagine the bustling workshops of the embalmers, the air thick with the scent of exotic spices and resins. Here, amidst glistening tools and linen bandages, the bodies of the deceased were received with utmost care and reverence. Yet, not all were treated equally. Ancient Egyptian society, much like our own, was stratified, with social standing playing a significant role in life and death. The pharaohs, considered divine rulers, received the most elaborate and costly mummification. Their bodies were meticulously prepared, organs carefully removed and placed in special containers called canopic jars, and the body cavities cleansed and filled with precious resins and perfumes. The process could take up to 70 days to complete, a testament to the importance placed on ensuring the pharaoh's successful transition to the afterlife. High-ranking officials and nobles also received elaborate mummifications, though not as opulent as the pharaohs. Their wealth and status afforded them the luxury of skilled embalmers and finer materials. Commoners, on the other hand, received a more simplified version. While their bodies were still treated with respect and care, the process was less intricate, and the materials used were more readily available. Sometimes a single treatment was applied to multiple mummies to reduce costs. The mummification process, a closely guarded secret of the embalmers, was a marvel of ancient science and ritual. It began with the purification of the body. The deceased was washed with water from the sacred Nile River, a symbolic act cleansing the body and spirit for the journey ahead. Next, the internal organs, believed to be susceptible to decay, were removed. This delicate procedure, performed with specialized tools, involved extracting the lungs, liver, stomach, and intestines. Only the heart, the seat of intelligence and emotion, was left intact, for it would be needed in the afterlife during the weighing of the heart ceremony. The removal of the organs marked a critical stage in the mummification process. It was not a haphazard or purely practical procedure, but a deeply symbolic act. The Egyptians believed that the body needed to be as intact as possible for the afterlife, but they also recognized the problem of decomposition. Thus, they developed a system where the organs, most prone to decay, were removed and preserved separately, ensuring that a vital part of the individual remained intact for their journey to the afterlife. Once removed, the organs were thoroughly cleansed and treated with natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture found in the desert which acted as a desiccant, drawing out moisture and preventing decay. This process was crucial, as it ensured the long-term preservation of the organs. After drying, the organs were wrapped in linen and placed in special containers known as canopic jars, which were then placed within the tomb alongside the mummy. Section 4. Safeguarding the Essence. Canopic Jars and the Four Sons of Horus. The canopic jars were more than just containers. They were intricate works of art imbued with religious significance. Each jar was adorned with the head of a deity, each representing one of the four sons of Horus, the falcon-headed god of kingship. These sons, Imseti, Hapi, Duamutef, and Kebesenuef, were tasked with protecting specific organs. Imseti, with a human head, guarded the liver. Hapi, with the head of a baboon, protected the lungs. Duamutef, characterized by the head of a jackal, watched over the stomach. And Kebesenuef, with the head of a falcon, safeguarded the intestines. The placement of the organs within these specific jars, each protected by a son of Horus, highlights the Egyptians' belief in the interconnectedness of the physical and spiritual realms. Every step of the mummification process was imbued with symbolism. each action carefully orchestrated to ensure the deceased's well-being in the afterlife. The sons of Horus, through their protective roles, served as intermediaries between the world of the living and the dead, guiding and safeguarding the deceased's organs on their journey to eternity. These beautifully crafted jars, often made of alabaster or limestone, were more than just containers. They were seen as miniature sarcophagi, protecting vital parts of the deceased for eternity. Their presence within the tomb underscored the belief that the body in its entirety played a crucial role in the afterlife. The care and artistry lavished upon these jars are a testament to the Egyptians' deep respect for the dead and their commitment to ensuring a smooth transition to the afterlife. The power of natron, drying for eternity. With the organs removed and placed in their respective canopic jars, the next stage of the mummification process focused on dehydrating the body. This was crucial to prevent decomposition. The Egyptians used natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture found in abundance in the desert, for this purpose. The body, covered in natron packs, was laid on a slanted table, allowing fluids to drain away. Natron, a desiccant, played a vital role in mummification. It acted like a sponge, drawing out all the moisture from the body, effectively halting the process of decomposition. This natural salt, readily available in the Egyptian desert, became synonymous with preservation, its use extending beyond mummification to preserving food and other perishable goods. For about 40 days, the body remained immersed in this natron bath, slowly drying and becoming resistant to decay. The embalmers, skilled in their craft, regularly checked the progress, ensuring the body was dehydrating properly. This period of drying was crucial, as it transformed the body from a perishable vessel into a lasting symbol of eternal life. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more fascinating historical explorations. France in the late 18th century was a nation ablaze with revolution and ambition. The streets of Paris echoed with the cries of liberty, equality and fraternity as the old order was dismantled and a new era began to take shape. The French Revolution had reshaped the political landscape, toppling monarchies and challenging the very foundations of European society. It was a time of great upheaval and even greater possibilities. Amidst this chaos, a young general named Napoleon Bonaparte was rising to prominence. His military prowess and strategic genius were quickly becoming the stuff of legend. His eyes were set on glory, and his gaze fell upon the ancient land of Egypt. To him, Egypt was not just a distant land, but a gateway to immortality.
Egypt, once a cradle of civilization, is now a strategic prize. Its location at the crossroads of Africa and Asia made it a key to controlling trade routes and exerting influence over the region. It holds the promise of disrupting British trade routes to India and expanding French influence. Control over Egypt could shift the balance of power in Europe.
Napoleon, however, saw beyond the geopolitical chessboard. He was not just a soldier, he was a visionary. He was captivated by the stories of Egypt's glorious past. The land of the Pharaohs, with its pyramids and ancient mysteries, called to him like a siren song. The Pharaohs, the pyramids, the mysteries of a lost civilization, these ignited a fire in his imagination. He dreamed of uncovering the secrets that had been buried for millennia.
Not just as a conqueror, but as a patron of knowledge, a beacon of enlightenment in a world shrouded in darkness. Uncovering the secrets buried beneath the sands. The treasures of Egypt were not just gold and jewels, but the wisdom of an ancient civilization.
In 1798, Napoleon embarked on his Egyptian expedition. It was a bold and audacious move, one that would test his leadership and vision. He carried with him not just the might of the French army, but the hopes and dreams of a nation, but also a contingent of scholars, scientists and artists. This was no ordinary military campaign, it was a quest for knowledge. This was a dual mission, to conquer Egypt and to unravel its ancient mysteries. The expedition was as much about discovery as it was about domination.
The expedition resonates with the spirit of the Enlightenment. It was a time when reason and science were seen as the keys to unlocking the mysteries of the world. Europe is in the throes of intellectual curiosity, eager to rediscover its classical past. The scholars who accompanied Napoleon were driven by a thirst for knowledge, eager to rediscover its classical past. They sought to bring the light of understanding to the dark corners of history. Egypt, with its ancient civilization and enigmatic monuments, holds an irresistible allure. It was a land of wonder and mystery, waiting to be explored.
The expedition was a testament to Napoleon's belief in the power of knowledge, even as he waged war. He saw himself as a bridge between the past and the future, even as he waged war. The battles fought in the sands of Egypt were not just for territory, but for the soul of a civilization. He saw the conquest of Egypt not just as a military objective, but as an opportunity to advance human understanding. It was a chance to rewrite history. Little did he know that his expedition would spark a global fascination with ancient Egypt, igniting a passion that would span centuries, giving birth to the field of Egyptology. Scholars from around the world would flock to Egypt, drawn by the allure of its ancient secrets, and forever changing our understanding of this ancient civilization. The legacy of Napoleon's Egyptian expedition is one of discovery, knowledge, and an unending quest for the truth. Napoleon's armada set sail from Toulon harbour, its destination the shores of Egypt. This ambitious expedition was not just a military endeavour, but a grand vision of conquest and enlightenment. The ships were laden not only with soldiers and weaponry, but also with scientific instruments, books and art supplies. Napoleon envisioned a new era of discovery, where the might of the French military would be complemented by the intellectual prowess of its scholars. The French troops landed in Alexandria in July 1798, quickly overwhelming the city's defences. The initial success was a testament to the meticulous planning and sheer force of Napoleon's army.
Promising to free the Egyptians from Ottoman rule, my words were meant to inspire and win the hearts of the local population, portraying the French as their saviors.
His words, however, rang hollow as the French army advanced southwards, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Villages were razed and the local populace suffered under the harsh realities of war. The Battle of the Pyramids, fought on the outskirts of Cairo, was a testament to French military might. The sight of the ancient pyramids standing witness to the clash of modern armies was both awe-inspiring and tragic. The Mamluk cavalry, though renowned for their prowess, was no match for the disciplined volleys of the French infantry. The battle showcased the superiority of French tactics and the devastating effectiveness of their firepower. Cairo fell into French hands, and with it, control of the Nile Delta. This strategic victory allowed the French to establish a foothold in Egypt, but it also marked the beginning of a prolonged and arduous campaign. But the conquest was far from over. The French faced continuous resistance from local forces and the looming threat of foreign intervention. The British Navy, sensing a threat to their interests in the region, engaged the French fleet at the Battle of the Nile. This confrontation would prove to be a pivotal moment in the campaign. The French, caught unawares in Aboukir Bay, suffered a crushing defeat. The loss of their fleet was a devastating blow, isolating Napoleon's forces in a hostile land. This naval disaster effectively stranded Napoleon's army in Egypt, cutting off their supply lines and reinforcements. The French soldiers, now isolated, had to rely on their resourcefulness and resilience to survive. The siege of Acre, however, proved to be a turning point. The Ottoman defenders, backed by British naval support, repelled repeated French assaults. The fortifications of Acre stood strong against the relentless French attacks. Napoleon, facing mounting casualties and news of unrest back in France, was forced to abandon the siege. The dream of a swift and glorious conquest was slipping away. His dreams of conquering the East lay shattered. The once ambitious campaign had turned into a struggle for survival and a race against time. His Egyptian adventure, though ultimately a military failure, had planted the seeds for something far greater, a renaissance in the study of ancient Egypt. The scholars who accompanied the expedition made groundbreaking discoveries, uncovering the mysteries of a civilization long forgotten. Among these discoveries was the Rosetta Stone, a key to unlocking the secrets of Egyptian hieroglyphics. This artifact would become one of the most important tools in the study of ancient languages and cultures. The work of these scholars culminated in the monumental Description de l'Égypte, a comprehensive record of the expedition's findings. This publication would inspire generations of historians, archaeologists, and Egyptologists. Today, the legacy of Napoleon's Egyptian campaign lives on in the continued fascination with ancient Egypt. The treasures uncovered and the knowledge gained have left an indelible mark on our understanding of history. Napoleon's invasion of Egypt, though driven by imperial ambitions, also marked the beginning of a new era of intellectual exploration. This campaign was not just about territorial conquest, it was also about the conquest of knowledge. Alongside his soldiers, Napoleon brought with him a carefully selected group of over 160 scholars, scientists, artists, and engineers. These individuals were not mere observers. They were active participants in a grand experiment to uncover the secrets of an ancient civilization. This group, known as the Commission of the Sciences and Arts of Egypt, was tasked with a unique mission to systematically study and document the ancient civilization they were conquering. Their work would go on to influence generations of historians, archaeologists, and scholars, meticulously recording their observations of ancient monuments, deciphering hieroglyphs, and studying local customs. Their efforts were not limited to grand temples and pyramids. They also documented everyday life, providing a comprehensive picture of Egyptian society. Their work, conducted amidst the chaos of war, laid the foundation for our modern understanding of ancient Egypt. Despite the constant threat of conflict, these scholars remained focused on their mission, driven by a passion for discovery. For the first time, Europe was getting a glimpse of Egypt not through the distorted lens of myth and legend, but through the objective eyes of science. This shift in perspective was revolutionary, challenging long-held beliefs and sparking a new era of Egyptology. These scholars, driven by a thirst for knowledge, braved the scorching desert heat, the threat of disease, and the constant dangers of war. Their resilience and dedication were remarkable as they navigated both the physical and intellectual challenges of their work. Their dedication to their task, even as battles raged around them, stands as a testament to the enduring power of human curiosity. They were not deterred by the chaos around them. Instead, they used it as a backdrop for their groundbreaking research. The sands of time have long concealed the daily lives of those who lived in ancient Egypt. Yet beneath the scorching desert sun, whispers from the past remain. Tombs, adorned with intricate paintings and carvings, offer us a unique window into their world. These vibrant scenes, preserved for thousands of years, provide a glimpse into the lives of ancient Egyptians, including their children. The Egyptians believed in life after death, a realm mirroring their earthly existence. They meticulously decorated their tombs with scenes from their daily lives, hoping to carry these experiences into the afterlife. These images, frozen in time, offer us invaluable insights into their customs, beliefs, and even the games their children played. Stepping into the painted chambers of ancient Egyptian tombs is like stepping back in time. We are transported to a world teeming with activity where children are not merely passive observers but active participants in the bustle of daily life. The tombs, particularly those from the Old and Middle Kingdoms, are replete with scenes of children engaging in various activities. These images reveal a society that cherished childhood and recognized the importance of play. Children are often depicted alongside adults participating in chores and celebrations. Their presence in these scenes suggests a close-knit family structure where children were integral members of the household and community. The tomb of Mereruka, a high-ranking official from the 6th dynasty, offers a captivating glimpse into the world of ancient Egyptian children. Among the many vibrant scenes adorning its walls, we find depictions of children engaged in playful acrobatics. These agile youngsters twist and contort their bodies into impressive poses, showcasing their flexibility and balance. One scene depicts a group of children forming a human pyramid, their small bodies balanced precariously atop one another. Another shows a young girl gracefully arched backward, her hands touching the ground behind her. These acrobatic displays were not merely forms of amusement. They were likely part of religious festivals and celebrations, adding an element of spectacle and entertainment to these important events. The rock-cut tombs of Beni Hassan, dating back to the Middle Kingdom, provide further evidence of the importance of movement and dance in ancient Egyptian culture. These tombs, carved meticulously into the cliffs, stand as silent witnesses to the vibrant life that once thrived here. The tombs, belonging to provincial governors, feature scenes of children engaged in a whirling dance, their bodies spinning and twirling with joyous abandon. These images capture the essence of youthful exuberance and the communal spirit of the time. Similarly, the tomb of Keti showcases children caught in mid-twirl, their colourful garments swirling around them like vibrant blossoms. The vivid colours and dynamic poses bring these ancient scenes to life, allowing us to glimpse the past. These whirling dances, likely accompanied by music and rhythmic clapping, were not only a form of entertainment but also a way for children to express themselves creatively and connect with their cultural heritage. Through these dances, they celebrated their identity and passed down traditions from one generation to the next, ensuring the continuity of their rich cultural tapestry. The scorching Egyptian sun dictated much of daily life, and clothing was no exception. The intense heat and relentless sun shaped the way ancient Egyptians dressed, influencing their choice of materials and styles. Ancient Egyptian children, much like their adult counterparts, donned light and airy garments suited to the hot climate. These garments were designed to keep them cool and comfortable, allowing them to go about their daily activities without being hindered by the oppressive heat. Linen, a fabric woven from the flax plant, was the material of choice, its breathable nature providing comfort in the sweltering heat. The process of weaving linen was an essential skill, passed down through generations, ensuring that everyone had access to this vital fabric. Young children, particularly boys, were often depicted wearing little to no clothing, their bare skin allowing them to stay cool under the desert sun. This minimalistic approach to clothing was practical and efficient, helping them avoid overheating. Girls, as they grew older, would wear simple linen dresses, often held up by straps over the shoulders. These dresses were not only functional, but also allowed for a degree of modesty as they transitioned into adulthood. These lightweight garments allowed for ease of movement, essential for active children engaged in play and exploration. The freedom of movement provided by their clothing enabled them to fully enjoy their childhood, exploring the world around them without restriction. The ancient Egyptian concept of childhood extended beyond mere survival. It encompassed play and imagination. Archaeological excavations at Kahun, a workers' town associated with the pyramid of Senusret II, have unearthed a treasure trove of children's toys, providing tangible evidence of their playful pursuits. Among the finds are balls made of woven fibres, their simple construction belying hours of fun spent tossing and catching. Wooden sticks, resembling miniature javelins, hint at games of skill and accuracy, while small carved figurines of animals ignite the imagination, transporting children to a world of make-believe. These toys, simple yet enduring, offer a poignant reminder that the desire for play transcends time and culture. Play in ancient Egypt was not limited to physical activity, it also encompassed games of skill and strategy. These games were an integral part of daily life and were enjoyed by both the young and the old. Board games, in particular, were popular pastimes, enjoyed by people of all ages, including children. These games were often played in the evenings or during festivals, bringing families and communities together. Two of the most well-known ancient Egyptian board games are Senet and Mehen. These games have been discovered in various archaeological sites, indicating their widespread popularity. Senet, a game of strategy played on a long, narrow board with 30 squares, involved moving pieces according to the roll of dice. The game required careful planning and foresight to outmaneuver opponents. The game, often found depicted in tomb paintings, was believed to have religious significance, representing the journey of the soul through the afterlife. It was thought that mastering Senet could help one navigate the challenges of the afterlife. Mehen, named after the snake god, was played on a circular board resembling a coiled serpent. The unique design of the board added an extra layer of complexity to the game. Players would move their pieces around the board, attempting to capture their opponent's pieces. The game required strategic thinking and a deep understanding of the rules to succeed. These games not only provided entertainment, but also honed children's cognitive skills and strategic thinking. They were a vital part of education, teaching important life skills through play. The Nile River, the lifeblood of ancient Egypt, was not only a source of sustenance but also a playground for children seeking respite from the desert heat. Swimming was a popular activity, and tomb scenes often depict children frolicking in the river's cool waters. One scene shows a group of children splashing and playing in the shallows, their laughter echoing through the ages. Another depicts children swimming alongside adults, their bodies sleek and agile in the water. The Nile, despite its inherent dangers, provided a much-needed escape from the scorching sun, offering children a chance to cool off, socialize, and engage in carefree play. The scenes etched into the walls of ancient Egyptian tombs offer us a poignant and enduring glimpse into the lives of children who lived thousands of years ago. These images, imbued with a sense of timelessness, remind us that childhood, with its inherent joys and wonder, transcends time and cultural boundaries. While our knowledge of ancient Egyptian childhood remains fragmentary, these glimpses into their world paint a picture of a society that valued play, creativity, and the importance of family. The toys they cherished, the games they played, and the laughter that undoubtedly filled their days are testaments to the universality of childhood experiences. Herodotus possessed a keen eye for observation and a passion for collecting stories. He sought out learned men and women, engaging them in lively discussions. He listened intently to tales whispered in marketplaces and songs sung in royal courts. He believed in the power of first-hand experience, venturing into remote regions to witness life in all its diversity. Herodotus understood that to truly comprehend the world, one had to explore its every corner. Egypt, with its ancient pyramids that have stood the test of time, towering majestically over the desert landscape, and enigmatic hieroglyphs that tell stories of gods, kings, and everyday life, held a particular allure for Herodotus. It was a land steeped in history, its origins lost to the mists of time, where every stone and ruin whispered secrets of a bygone era. Herodotus was captivated by the grandeur of its monuments, the towering statues that seemed to touch the sky, and the complexity of its civilization, a society that thrived with bustling marketplaces and intricate social structures. Herodotus immersed himself in Egyptian culture, engaging with priests, scribes, and ordinary people, learning from their daily lives and traditions. He learned about their religious beliefs, their social customs, and their understanding of the cosmos, which was deeply intertwined with their daily existence. He was fascinated by their stories of gods and pharaohs, tales of divine rulers and mythical beings, of creation and the afterlife, where elaborate burial practices ensured a journey to the next world. He recognized that Egypt offered a unique perspective on the human experience, a civilization that had mastered the art of living in harmony with the natural and supernatural worlds. Herodotus was a pioneer in the field of history, often referred to as the father of history, due to his groundbreaking work in documenting the past. However, his methods differed greatly from the rigorous standards of modern scholarship. Unlike today's historians, who rely on a combination of primary sources, archaeological evidence, and peer-reviewed research, Herodotus had to navigate a world where written records were scarce and often unreliable. He relied heavily on oral accounts, gathering stories from a wide range of sources. These included local storytellers, travelers, and merchants, each with their own version of events. Herodotus understood that history was often passed down through generations, shaped by the memories and perspectives of those who recounted it. This oral tradition was a double-edged sword. While it preserved the essence of events, it also allowed for embellishments and alterations over time. The stories he collected were like pieces of a puzzle, each one offering a glimpse into the past, but none providing a complete picture. The hieroglyphics and inscriptions he encountered were invaluable, yet they too were subject to interpretation. Herodotus recognized the subjective nature of his sources, but believed that by collecting multiple perspectives, he could approach a semblance of truth. He was aware that each account was colored by the teller's own experiences and biases. While Herodotus valued first-hand observation, he also relied on the interpretations of local guides and experts. These individuals provided him with insights that he could not have gained on his own. He understood that these guides and experts had spent their lives immersed in the culture and history of their land, making their knowledge indispensable. He consulted with Egyptian priests who possessed a deep knowledge of their history and religion. These priests were the keepers of sacred texts and oral traditions, offering Herodotus a wealth of information. He sought out Greek merchants and travelers who had spent years in Egypt, absorbing its culture. These individuals provided a unique perspective, bridging the gap between Greek and Egyptian worlds. He recognized that to fully understand a place, one had to rely on the knowledge of those who knew it best. This meant listening to the voices of the people who lived there, who had experienced its history firsthand. Herodotus's approach to history was not without its flaws. His reliance on oral accounts and second-hand information sometimes led him astray. He sometimes struggled to differentiate between fact and legend, accepting fantastical stories at face value. These tales, while captivating, often blurred the line between history and myth. He acknowledged the limitations of his own knowledge, often presenting conflicting accounts side by side. This approach allowed readers to see the diversity of perspectives, but also highlighted the uncertainties inherent in his work. However, his willingness to embrace uncertainty and to present multiple perspectives distinguished him as a historian. He was not afraid to admit when he did not know the full story, and he left room for future scholars to build upon his work. He understood that history was not simply a collection of facts, but a complex tapestry woven from memory, interpretation, and imagination. This holistic approach allowed him to capture the richness and complexity of human experience, making his work timeless and invaluable. Egypt, in the eyes of Herodotus, was a land of wonders, both familiar and strange. As he journeyed through this ancient civilization, he was struck by the unique blend of natural beauty and human ingenuity that defined the landscape. He marveled at the Nile's annual floods, which brought life to the arid land. These floods were not just a natural phenomenon, but a lifeline for the people, ensuring the fertility of the soil and the prosperity of the nation. He described the Egyptians' ingenious irrigation systems, which transformed the desert into fertile fields. These systems were a testament to their advanced engineering skills and their ability to adapt to their environment. He observed their agricultural practices, noting their cultivation of wheat, barley, and flax. These crops were not only staples of their diet, but also essential for their economy, providing materials for trade and daily life. Herodotus was impressed by the Egyptians' ability to harness the power of nature to sustain their civilization. Their agricultural techniques were sustainable and efficient, allowing them to thrive in a challenging environment. Herodotus was equally fascinated by the Egyptians' cultural practices. He witnessed their vibrant festivals, intricate rituals, and the daily routines that reflected their deep-seated beliefs and values. He described their reverence for the Nile, which they believed was the source of all life. The river was central to their religion and mythology, and they held numerous ceremonies to honor its vital role in their existence. He observed their elaborate burial rituals, including the mummification of their dead and the construction of elaborate tombs. These practices were deeply rooted in their belief in the afterlife and the importance of preserving the body for the journey beyond. He noted their fascination with astronomy, their development of a calendar based on the solar year, and their construction of massive pyramids aligned with the stars. These achievements demonstrated their advanced understanding of the cosmos and their desire to connect with the divine. Herodotus recognized the Egyptians' deep connection to their environment and their reverence for the natural world. This connection was evident in their art, architecture, and daily practices, all of which reflected a profound respect for the forces of nature. He observed their respect for animals, particularly cats, which they considered sacred. Cats were not only pets, but also symbols of protection and grace, often depicted in their art and associated with the goddess Bastet. He noted their belief in the afterlife and their elaborate preparations for the journey into the underworld. These preparations included not only mummification, but also the provision of goods, amulets, and inscriptions to guide and protect the deceased in the afterlife. Herodotus understood that the Egyptians' worldview was fundamentally different from that of the Greeks, shaped by their unique environment and their ancient traditions. This difference was reflected in their art, religion, and social structures, offering a rich tapestry of cultural diversity that fascinated and inspired him. Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, a name synonymous with exploration and discovery, was born in Switzerland in 1784. He grew up in a privileged family, receiving a classical education that ignited a passion for history and languages. Burckhardt's thirst for knowledge extended beyond the confines of Europe. He yearned to explore the distant lands of the Orient, captivated by their ancient civilizations and rich cultures. Little did he know that his name would be etched in history as a pioneer of exploration, forever linked to the rediscovery of some of the world's most awe-inspiring archaeological treasures. Burckhardt's early years were marked by a deep fascination with the world beyond his Swiss homeland. He devoured tales of adventure and exploration, his imagination ignited by the accounts of early travelers. His academic pursuits reflected this thirst for knowledge, excelling in his studies of history, geography, and languages. These disciplines provided him with a strong foundation, equipping him with the tools necessary to navigate the complexities of the Orient. With each passing year, his desire to experience these distant lands firsthand grew stronger, setting the stage for an extraordinary life of exploration and discovery. Burckhardt's family, while supportive of his academic pursuits, held reservations about his ambitions to travel to the east. The region was perceived as dangerous and unpredictable, fraught with risks that worried his loved ones. However, Burckhardt's determination remained unwavering. He understood the challenges that lay ahead, but was undeterred. His resolve to explore the Orient, to immerse himself in its cultures and uncover its secrets, fueled his determination to overcome any obstacle in his path. This unwavering spirit would serve him well in the years to come, guiding him through the triumphs and tribulations of his extraordinary journeys. Determined to realize his dreams, Burckhardt embarked on a period of rigorous preparation. He journeyed to London in 1806, immersing himself in the city's intellectual circles. He honed his Arabic language skills at Cambridge, recognizing the importance of mastering local dialects to navigate the complexities of communication in the East. This linguistic dedication was not merely academic, it was a testament to Burckhardt's respect for the cultures he sought to engage with. His studies went beyond language acquisition, encompassing a deep dive into the history, customs and religious practices of the Arab world. He delved into the accounts of previous explorers, scrutinizing their successes and failures, gleaning valuable insights from their experiences. Burckhardt recognized that knowledge, particularly cultural sensitivity, would be his greatest asset in navigating the challenges of the Orient. His preparations were meticulous, reflecting a blend of academic rigor and practical wisdom, shaping him into an explorer uniquely equipped for the journey ahead. In 1809, under the auspices of the African Association, a London-based organization dedicated to exploring the African continent, Burckhardt embarked on his journey to Cairo. This marked the beginning of his transformation from a scholar into an explorer, stepping out of the libraries and lecture halls and into the heart of the unknown. The voyage to Cairo was arduous, fraught with the challenges of sea travel during that era. Yet, Burckhardt faced each obstacle with unwavering determination, his spirit buoyed by the knowledge that he was one step closer to realizing his lifelong dream. His arrival in Cairo marked the beginning of his immersive experience in the Arab world. He dedicated himself to perfecting his Arabic, adopting local customs, and immersing himself in the rhythms of life along the Nile. He understood that to truly connect with the people and places he aimed to explore, he needed to blend in, to shed the persona of a European outsider and embrace the guise of a traveler who respected and appreciated the nuances of their culture. This commitment to cultural immersion would prove invaluable in the years to come, enabling him to gain access to places and people that had remained hidden from the outside world. Donning the persona of Sheikh Ibrahim ibn Abdallah, a guise meticulously crafted to blend into local communities, Burckhardt embarked on his exploration of the Ottoman Empire's southern regions. This strategic adoption of a local identity was essential for his safety and success. It allowed him to navigate sensitive religious and cultural landscapes, facilitating interactions with local populations who might have been wary of a European traveller. His disguise was more than just a change of clothes. It was an embodiment of his commitment to respectful exploration. In 1812, while journeying through the rugged landscapes of present-day Jordan, Burckhardt encountered Bedouin tribesmen who spoke of a hidden city carved into the sandstone cliffs. Intrigued by their descriptions, he persuaded them to guide him to this mysterious place, unaware that he was about to rediscover one of antiquity's most spectacular lost cities, Petra. The journey was fraught with challenges, navigating treacherous terrain and negotiating with wary locals. Yet Burckhardt's perseverance, fueled by a thirst for discovery, led him to the very heart of this hidden wonder. As he stood before the treasury, Petra's most iconic monument, carved with astonishing detail into the sheer rock face, Burckhardt was awestruck. He meticulously documented the ruins, sketching detailed drawings and recording intricate measurements. He recognized the historical significance of his discovery, understanding that he was rediscovering a lost civilization, a testament to the ingenuity and artistry of the Nabatean people. His meticulous documentation, carried out under the guise of a simple traveler, would prove crucial in reintroducing Petra to the world. Despite his awe at the grandeur of Petra, Burckhardt remained committed to his assumed identity. He knew that revealing his true purpose could jeopardize his safety and limit his access to other hidden treasures. He feigned disinterest, downplaying the significance of the ruins to avoid arousing suspicion. This act of calculated indifference, a testament to his adaptability and quick thinking, allowed him to complete his exploration of Petra and continue his journey, carrying with him the knowledge of a rediscovered wonder that would captivate the world's imagination. Burckhardt's journey continued southward, leading him to Egypt, a land steeped in ancient history. He immersed himself in the study of hieroglyphics, recognizing the importance of deciphering these ancient scripts to unlock the secrets of Egypt's past. His linguistic talents, honed through years of dedicated study, proved invaluable as he grappled with the complexities of this ancient writing system. His efforts, while preliminary, contributed to the growing field of Egyptology, laying the groundwork for future scholars who would ultimately crack the code of hieroglyphics. In 1813, while travelling along the Nile, Burckhardt's attention was drawn to tales of colossal statues buried in the sand near the village of Abu Simbel. Intrigued, he ventured into the desert, guided by local stories and rumours. His perseverance was rewarded when he stumbled upon the awe-inspiring temple complex of Abu Simbel, half buried by the shifting sands of time. The sight of these colossal statues, carved with such grandeur and scale, left him speechless. He recognized the historical significance of his discovery, understanding that he was standing before a monument of unparalleled grandeur, a testament to the power and ambition of Pharaoh Rameses II. He meticulously documented the site, his detailed descriptions and sketches capturing the magnificence of the temple complex. Burckhardt's discovery at Abu Simbel, alongside his rediscovery of Petra, cemented his legacy as a pioneer of archaeology, a man who brought to light some of the ancient world's most spectacular treasures. Despite the challenges he faced, the scorching heat, the unforgiving terrain, and the constant need to maintain his assumed identity, Burckhardt's spirit never wavered. He pressed on, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a profound respect for the cultures he encountered. His journey through Egypt was more than just a geographical exploration. It was a testament to the power of human curiosity. A journey that revealed the enduring allure of ancient civilizations and the thrill of uncovering their hidden wonders. Ancient Egyptian society, though often viewed through the lens of pharaohs and pyramids, was deeply rooted in the family unit. The family was the cornerstone of their civilization, providing the essential framework for social and economic stability. Family provided stability, social structure, and a sense of belonging in a world often at the mercy of the Nile's floods. The annual inundation of the Nile was both a blessing and a challenge, and families worked together to manage its impacts. This emphasis on kinship permeated all levels of society, from peasant households to royal palaces. Whether in humble villages or grand estates, the family was the primary unit of social organization. Homes, whether simple mud brick dwellings or grander structures of stone, were vibrant spaces where families lived, worked and interacted. These homes were not just shelters, but centers of daily life and activity. Within these walls, daily life unfolded. Meals were prepared, children played, and crafts were practiced. The rhythm of daily life was marked by the seasons and the cycles of the Nile. The household was a microcosm of Egyptian society, reflecting the hierarchical structure of the wider world. Each member had a role to play, contributing to the family's well-being and prosperity. Tomb paintings and inscriptions offer intimate glimpses into the daily routines and relationships of ancient Egyptians. These artworks reveal the importance of family ties and the affection shared among family members. Scenes of families sharing meals paint a vivid picture of the centrality of family in this ancient civilization. Meal times were not just for sustenance, but were also social occasions that reinforced family bonds and traditions. Daily life in ancient Egypt was a tapestry woven from routine tasks, religious observances, and social interactions. Men, typically responsible for agricultural labor, crafts, or trade, were the primary breadwinners. Women, while often managing the domestic sphere, actively participated in various economic activities. They engaged in tasks such as brewing beer, weaving textiles, and managing household finances. The home itself was a place of activity, with tasks often shared among family members. Children assisted with chores and learned the skills necessary for adulthood. This division of labour fostered a sense of interdependence within the family unit. The household reflected the importance of order, balance and shared responsibility. Contrary to popular belief, ancient Egyptian women enjoyed a surprising degree of legal and economic independence. They could own property, engage in business transactions, and even represent themselves in court. Women held positions of respect within the family structure. Mothers were highly revered, and their influence was significant. While women possessed legal rights and societal respect, their lives were still shaped by gender roles within the patriarchal structure. The realities of daily life, childbirth, and societal expectations influenced their experiences. From fields to palaces, social stratification and daily life. Ancient Egyptian society was highly stratified, with a clear hierarchy influencing every aspect of life. At the apex stood the pharaoh, followed by priests, nobles, and high-ranking officials. These individuals enjoyed lives of privilege, inhabiting opulent homes and wielding considerable power. Commoners, who constituted the vast majority, led more modest lives. Despite disparities in wealth and status, shared religious beliefs and cultural practices united Egyptians across social strata. All Egyptians venerated the same gods, observed similar funerary rituals, and shared a common cultural identity. The ties that bind marriage, family, and inheritance. In ancient Egypt, the bonds of marriage, family, and inheritance were deeply intertwined, forming the bedrock of society. Marriage in ancient Egypt was primarily a social and economic contract, ensuring the continuation of the family line. These unions were meticulously documented, often involving detailed contracts that outlined the responsibilities and expectations of both parties. Marriages were often arranged to forge alliances and secure advantageous social connections. These alliances were not just personal, but also political, strengthening ties between powerful families and communities. Most marriages were monogamous, although men of high status could take secondary wives or concubines. This practice was more common among the elite, reflecting their wealth and social standing. Women had a degree of protection within marriage, with laws safeguarding their property rights and inheritance. These laws ensured that women could maintain some level of independence and security, even within a patriarchal society. Divorce was a possibility for both men and women, albeit with certain social and economic consequences. The process could be complex, often involving negotiations over property and custody of children. Children were highly valued, and families celebrated their arrival with joy. The birth of a child was seen as a blessing, and elaborate ceremonies were often held to mark the occasion. Parents doted on their children, providing them with toys, games, and affection. This nurturing environment was crucial for the child's development and future role in society. Inheritance played a crucial role, typically passing through the male line, with sons inheriting from their fathers. This ensured the continuity of the family name and the preservation of wealth and property. Daughters could inherit property, and in some cases even the throne, if there were no male heirs. This was particularly true in royal families, where the absence of a male heir could lead to a daughter ascending to power, ensuring the stability of the dynasty. Furnishing the past homes and possessions. The homes of ancient Egyptians, whether modest mud brick dwellings or grand estates, were spaces where daily life unfolded. These homes were not just shelters, but the heart of family life, where traditions and daily routines were carried out. Most homes were designed around a central courtyard, providing light and ventilation. This architectural feature was crucial in the hot climate, ensuring that the living spaces remained cool and comfortable. This open space often served as an extension of the living area where families gathered for meals and socializing. It was a place for children to play, for adults to work, and for everyone to relax and enjoy each other's company. Furniture was typically simple and functional, with wooden frames covered with woven mats for beds. These beds provided a basic yet comfortable place to rest after a day's work. Chests and boxes stored clothing and personal belongings, while pottery vessels held food and drink. These storage solutions were essential for keeping the home organized and ensuring that daily necessities were easily accessible. Wealthier homes had brightly colored paintings depicting scenes from daily life and religious rituals. These artworks added a touch of elegance and reflected the homeowner's taste and social status. These murals beautified the home and served as visual reminders of the homeowner's status and beliefs. They often depicted gods, goddesses, and significant events, reinforcing the cultural and religious values of the time. The possessions found in Egyptian homes provide valuable insights into the lifestyles and beliefs of the people who lived in them. From everyday items to decorative pieces, each object tells a story about the ancient Egyptians' way of life, their values and their aspirations. A child's world upbringing and education in the Nile Valley. Childhood in ancient Egypt was a crucial period of preparation for adulthood. Children were nurtured in environments where they were taught the skills and values essential for their future roles in society. Education was highly valued, with literacy seen as a mark of social distinction. Boys from wealthy families often received formal education at temple schools, learning to read and write hieroglyphs. Girls were educated at home in domestic skills like weaving and managing the household. Play was an integral part of childhood, with children engaging in a variety of games and activities. The transition to adulthood was marked by rituals and ceremonies, signifying readiness for marriage, family, and societal contributions. Our understanding of ancient Egyptian family life has been shaped by centuries of scholarship and archaeological discoveries. The Victorian era often projected its own values onto the past, interpreting ancient Egyptian society through a lens of patriarchy. As archaeological evidence has accumulated, our understanding of gender roles and family dynamics has become more nuanced. Legal documents, tomb inscriptions, and artistic representations depicting women in positions of authority have challenged traditional interpretations. By acknowledging the diversity of human experience, we gain a more accurate understanding of the past. Did you know that beer and bread were not just food items, but also a form of currency in ancient Egypt? While it was the Mesopotamians who first invented beer, even developing the ingenious use of a straw to sidestep the pesky sediments and herbs, it was the ancient Egyptians who truly mastered the art of brewing. The quality of Egyptian beer was judged by its color, its flavor, and of course, its alcohol strength. Beer was more than just a beverage to the ancient Egyptians. During the pharaonic era, it became the most commonly used alcoholic drink, and its importance was unparalleled. It was consumed daily by both adults and children, and it was even included in medical texts as a key ingredient hundreds remedies. The state and temples used beer as a form of payment to their workers. It was also offered up as food to the gods and the deceased. This humble brew was the drink of choice at ceremonies and festivals, and there was even a particular festival aptly named the Festival of Drunkenness, devoted entirely to it. Beer was not the only product the Egyptians were skilled at creating. Bakers and brewers often worked side by side in the same workshop or house, with bread being another staple in the Egyptian diet. The most basic recipe involved using malted cereal as the primary ingredient, with fruits such as dates, honey, and spices added for flavor. Once baked, the bread would be crumbled into the brew to kickstart the fermentation process, creating a thick, mash-like substance. The process was a testament to the Egyptians' resourcefulness. Very little was wasted. Leftover grains were put to good use, either being reused to make sourdough bread or incorporated into the next batch in the pharaonic era. Beer and bread evolved from mere sustenance to become the most commonly used and significant commodity. Imagine receiving your salary in the form of beer and bread. Sounds unusual, right? But that was the reality during the pharaonic era in ancient Egypt. Beer and bread, more than just staples of the Egyptian diet, were the currency of the land. The state and temples used these commodities as payment to workers, from the builders of the Great Pyramids to the farmers tilling the fertile Nile riverbanks. But it didn't stop at wages. Beer and bread also held a sacred place in Egyptian society. They were routinely included in offerings to the gods and the deceased. It was believed that these offerings would provide for the needs of the departed in the afterlife. In fact, the hieroglyphic symbol for meal was a loaf of bread and a jar of beer. Festivals and ceremonies too were incomplete without these two essentials. One such occasion was the Festival of Drunkenness, a unique celebration dedicated entirely to beer. This festival commemorated the myth of Sekhmet, the lioness-headed goddess, who almost wiped out humanity but was pacified by beer. Egyptians would drink to the point of oblivion, believing that in their intoxicated state they could connect with the divine. Beer was not just a recreational drink. It was considered to be quite nutritious and was a significant part of the everyday lives of ancient Egyptians. It was consumed with all meals by adults and children alike. Its importance is further underscored by its prominence in medical texts, where hundreds of remedies contained beer as a key ingredient. As for bread, it was more than a side dish. It was a symbol of life and fertility, and its production was associated with the god Osiris, who was believed to have taught Egyptians the art of agriculture. So, while we might not find the idea of being paid in beer and bread appealing today, for the ancient Egyptians, these were not just food items. They were an integral part of their life, culture, and economy. Indeed, beer and bread were not just food items, they were the lifeblood of ancient Egypt's economy and culture. Beer for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that was a typical day for an ancient Egyptian. Beer wasn't just an indulgence for them, it was a dietary staple consumed by adults and children alike. It was as common as water, and arguably safer to drink considering the purification process involved in brewing. Now, it might sound strange to us, but the beer of ancient Egypt was very different from what we're used to today. It was a nutritious, hearty brew that was more like a liquid bread. It was thick, often consumed with a straw to bypass the chunky sediments, and contained proteins, vitamins, and even antibiotic properties. Yes, you heard that right. This beer could help fight off diseases, an added bonus in a time before modern medicine. In fact, beer was so significant in the day-to-day lives of ancient Egyptians that it even found its way into their medical practices. Hundreds of remedies from that era include beer as a key ingredient. It was used to treat everything from digestive issues to wounds, making it an essential part of their health regimen. And it wasn't just beer that held a crucial place in their diet. Bread, too, was a staple food made from barley or emmer wheat. It was often enriched with additional ingredients like fruits, nuts, honey, and spices, providing a wide range of nutrients. The process of baking bread and brewing beer were closely linked, often happening in the same workshop or household. The leftover grains from brewing were reused to make sourdough bread, ensuring that nothing went to waste. This circular process not only maximized resources, but also created a symbiotic relationship between the two essential food items. Now, keep in mind, this was not a diet born out of indulgence, but out of necessity. In a harsh desert environment where fresh produce was limited, beer and bread provided the necessary calories and nutrients to sustain life. So, for ancient Egyptians, beer was not just a drink, it was a vital part of their diet and health regimen. And bread wasn't just a side dish, but a life-sustaining necessity. Their importance in the daily life of ancient Egyptians was paramount, a testament to human ingenuity in turning simple grains into nourishing sustenance. The ancient Egyptians were not just pyramid builders, they were master brewers and bakers too. Their craft was a delicate dance of ingredients and steps, an art form that took skill and care to perfect. The most basic recipe for their beer began with malted cereal. This humble grain was the starting point, the canvas upon which the Egyptians would create their masterpiece. To this they added dates, a sweet, sticky fruit that lent flavor and body to the brew. Honey was another addition, bringing its own unique sweetness and depth. Spices too were included, their aromatic notes dancing amidst the other flavors, adding complexity and intrigue. And then there was bread. Not just any bread, but bread that was freshly baked and crumbled into the brew, a catalyst to start the all-important fermentation process. Adding grain enzymes to the mix, the Egyptians were able to break down the starches in the bread and malt, turning them into sugars. This created a thick mash, a soupy mixture that was the precursor to the final beer. Once ready, this bread and grain mixture was compressed, strained through a sieve with water, and added to the mix of malt beer. This beer mash was then transferred to large containers and compressed again, either by foot or with pestles. This process smoothed out the mixture, readying it for the final steps. Once smooth, the beer was stored in pottery jars, sealed with a clay stopper to keep it fresh. Its shelf life was limited, and it likely had a thick, pasty appearance and texture. But in ancient Egypt, nothing was wasted. The leftover grains from the brewing process were reused either to make sourdough bread or to be combined with the next batch of beer. This cycle of brewing and baking, of creation and reuse, was a testament to the Egyptians' resourcefulness and ingenuity. Despite the passage of time, the brewing and baking techniques of the ancient Egyptians remain an awe-inspiring testament to their ingenuity. As the sands of time shifted, so did the quality and significance of beer and bread in ancient Egypt. Take a moment to consider the humble grain of wheat. In its raw form, it may not seem like much, but when transformed by the hands of skilled bakers and brewers, it became the lifeblood of a civilization. The introduction of durum wheat, a hard variety of wheat with a high protein content, brought about a significant improvement in the quality of bread. This allowed the upper and middle classes to enjoy a more refined taste. However, the story was different for the poor. Their diet was often a simple gruel made of vegetables, softened bread or barley. Despite the advances in bread making, the disparity between the classes was evident even in their meals. Interestingly, the way food was prepared also evolved. Until the Middle Kingdom, food was prepared on the floor. Can you imagine kneading dough or brewing beer in the dust? But innovation came in the form of cooking benches. These raised platforms provided a cleaner, more efficient space for preparing meals and must have been a welcome change for the bakers and brewers of the time. In the world of brewing, the techniques remained largely the same, but the recipes evolved. Brewers began experimenting with different ingredients, adding fruits, nuts and spices to their brews. This not only enhanced the flavor of the beer, but also provided additional nutrients, further cementing beer's place as a vital part of the Egyptian diet. Just as the pyramids stand as a testament to the architectural prowess of the ancient Egyptians, the evolution of beer and bread serves as a testament to their culinary innovation. This is a story of a society that valued both necessity and pleasure, creating a balance that was reflected in their food and drink. From humble beginnings to significant commodities, the journey of beer and bread in ancient Egypt is a fascinating tale of evolution and adaptation. Have you ever wondered how a day in the life of an ancient Egyptian unfolded? As dawn's first light brushed across the horizon, ancient Egyptian households stirred into activity. The day started early, long before the punishing heat of the desert sun could make work unbearable. Family members roused themselves from their simple beds, often nothing more than a mat on the floor, and began their day with the rising sun, a testament to their resilience and tenacity. The morning air would fill with the scent of baking bread, a staple in the Egyptian diet, made from emmer wheat or barley. This humble loaf, often accompanied by a jug of beer, formed the backbone of their breakfast. The beer, contrary to modern perceptions, was a nutritious brew, low in alcohol and high in vital nutrients. Bread and beer, in their simplicity, provided sustenance and energy for the day's activities. Meanwhile, the household chores were set in motion. Floors were swept, homes tidied, and animals attended to. These tasks were shared among the family members, each contributing to the smooth running of the household. Despite the simplicity of their dwellings, cleanliness was of utmost importance, a reflection of their spiritual beliefs and their reverence for Ma'at, the ancient Egyptian concept of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. As the morning chores were completed, the children, seen as blessings from the gods, were prepared for their day. Many would accompany their parents to learn the family trade, while others, particularly those from wealthier families, would receive education, a privilege that was not universally accessible. The morning bustle, a symphony of activity, was a testament to the industriousness of the ancient Egyptians. Their day-to-day life was a delicate balance of work and family, a dance choreographed to the rhythm of the rising and setting sun. Their homes, whether grand mansions of the wealthy or humble mud-brick dwellings of the commoners, were centers of love, life, and productivity. As the morning chores were done, ancient Egyptians prepared for the day ahead. As the sun rose higher, the day's work began in earnest. The ancient Egyptians embarked on a myriad of activities that formed the backbone of their society. From weaving and professional mourning to serving in the households of the affluent, the Egyptians were a diligent people. Intriguingly, both men and women partook in these activities, a testament to the equality that was a cornerstone of their society. In the pre-Greco-Roman culture, Egyptian women were not mere bystanders. They owned property, testified in court, and could even inherit. A woman could step into her deceased husband's trade, an opportunity that was restricted when the Greeks and Romans arrived. The marriage contracts of the time also bore witness to this equality, often including mentions of allowances and items of value brought into the marriage by the woman, which forever remained hers. The social structure, however, did play a role in determining the opportunities available to an individual. The higher their status, the easier it was to obtain education and access different professions. But regardless of their social standing, every Egyptian had a role to play, a task to execute. This society was not just about work, there was also time for leisure. When the tasks of the day were done, Egyptians would engage in games and music, a welcome respite from the rigors of their daily chores. Children were considered a blessing from the gods, and their laughter and playfulness added a sense of liveliness to the otherwise industrious Egyptian lifestyle. The ancient Egyptians were a people of balance. They understood the importance of work, but also the value of relaxation and family. They built their homes with care, whether it was a commoner's house made from sun-baked mud bricks or a wealthy mansion decorated luxuriously. They believed in equality, and this belief was reflected in their society. As the sun began to set, the ancient Egyptians wrapped up their day's work and returned home. They had fulfilled their roles, carried out their tasks, and now it was time to retreat to the comfort of their homes, to their families, and to rest, ready to repeat the cycle the next day. With the setting sun, the ancient Egyptians retreated to the comfort of their homes. The hustle and bustle of the day's activities subsided, ushering in a time of quiet contemplation and familial bonding. You see, evenings in an ancient Egyptian household were not just about rest, but about strengthening the ties that bound them together. As dusk fell, the families would gather for dinner. But unlike our modern-day practice of congregating around one large table, each individual had a small table of their own. Meals were simple, yet nourishing, often consisting of bread, vegetables, and sometimes fish or meat. This practice of individual tables wasn't a sign of disconnectedness, but rather a custom unique to their culture. The importance of family in their society cannot be overemphasized. The father, mother, and children were the nucleus of the family, but their household often extended to include mothers-in-law, sisters, aunts, and sisters-in-law. The evening meal was a time for them to come together, share the day's experiences, and perhaps indulge in light-hearted banter. It was a time of unity and connection, a time to reinforce the bonds of love and respect that held them together. Children, considered a blessing from the gods, filled these homes with laughter and joy. They were doted upon, their every need attended to with love and care. And as the evening wore on, stories would be shared, tales of valor, of gods and goddesses of the mighty Nile, instilling in the young ones a sense of pride and belonging to this ancient civilization. The evening was also a time for personal grooming and hygiene. They would clean themselves with natron, a type of salt, and oil their bodies. Hair was combed, clothes were changed, and the day's dust was washed away, preparing them for the tranquility of the night. As night fell, the ancient Egyptians retreated to their bedrooms, preparing to start the cycle all over again the next day. They would sleep on beds raised from the ground, their dreams filled with the promise of another day in the life of an ancient Egyptian. So, how was a day in the life of an ancient Egyptian? Well, It started at dawn with the daily routines in the household, each member contributing to the smooth running of the family unit. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the day was filled with various activities. Some engaged in the family trade, while others served in the houses of the rich or pursued professions unique to their gender. In the evening, the home transformed into a hub of social interactions. The ceremonial room buzzed with guests while the family members gathered around their individual tables for dinner. Despite the absence of surnames, the family tree was etched in stone, quite literally on funeral stones, to ensure the deceased were remembered. The day ended in the intimate confines of the bedroom or kitchen, the heart of the home. It's fascinating to think about how much we share with the ancient Egyptians, despite the thousands of years that separate us. Their day-to-day life was filled with activities not too dissimilar from ours, making them not so distant after all. Have you ever wondered how the sands of time have shifted under the influence of different civilizations? Such is the curious case of the Romans and their impact on ancient Egypt. Egypt, the cradle of civilization, with its pyramids and pharaohs, has always held an allure for history enthusiasts. But like a prism refracting light, Egypt's history is multifaceted, with one of its most intriguing aspects being the influence of the Roman civilization. The Romans, renowned for their mastery in governance and engineering, set foot in Egypt around the 1st century BC. A land already steeped in rich history, Egypt was a jewel that many sought but few could claim. For the Romans, it was an opportunity to expand their empire, and for Egypt, it was the dawn of a new era. Over the course of our exploration, we will navigate through the corridors of time to shed light on the Roman conquest, the blending of cultures under Roman rule, the marvels of Roman engineering, and their enduring legacy in Egypt. Imagine, if you will, the bustling city of Cyrene, a vibrant testament to Roman architectural prowess, thriving under the desert sun. Picture the grandeur of Roman forts, their imposing structures a beacon of Roman might amidst Egypt's ancient landscape. But this influence was not confined to bricks and mortar. The Romans, with their nuanced governance, were architects of society too. They built bridges, not just of stone, but of culture, intertwining their own with that of the Egyptians, creating a rich tapestry woven with threads of both Roman and Egyptian heritage. And let's not forget the marvels of Roman engineering. Aqueducts snaking through the landscape, an ingenious solution to the desert's harsh climate. Their testament to the Romans' ingenuity still stands today, echoing tales of a civilization far advanced for its time. As we delve deeper into this intriguing history, we will uncover the profound impact of the Roman civilization on ancient Egypt, a tale of conquest, cultural fusion, architectural genius, and an enduring legacy that has stood the test of time. This is the unseen influence of the Romans on ancient Egypt. The Romans, a civilization known for its military prowess and strategic acumen, set their sights on Egypt around 30 BC. The allure of Egypt's vast resources and strategic location was too enticing to ignore. After all, Egypt was a jewel in the crown of the Mediterranean, with its fertile river valleys, abundant grain, and access to the Red Sea trade routes. The conquest of Egypt was not just about territorial expansion for the Romans, it was a strategic move, a testament to their foresight. Egypt was not just another province, it was the breadbasket of the Roman Empire. The fertile lands along the Nile River provided a steady supply of grain, ensuring that Rome never went hungry. Furthermore, the wealth of Egypt, particularly its gold, added significantly to the coffers of the Roman Empire, fueling its economic prosperity. But the Romans weren't merely conquerors, they were also assimilators. They recognized the importance of Egypt's rich culture and history. Instead of imposing their culture wholesale on the Egyptians, they chose to integrate, absorbing elements of Egyptian culture into their own. This approach allowed them to win over the hearts and minds of the Egyptian people, making their rule more palatable. The conquest of Egypt marked the beginning of Roman influence in the region. The Romans established their presence with the construction of forts and cities, including the city of Cyrene, which became a hub of Roman culture and commerce in North Africa. These settlements served not only as military outposts, but also as symbols of Roman power and civilization. The Roman conquest also marked a significant shift in Egypt's history. The pharaonic era had ended, and the Roman era had begun. It was a period of change and adaptation, as two of the ancient world's most renowned civilizations became inexorably intertwined. With the conquest complete, the stage was set for a Roman era in Egypt's history. The Romans had arrived, and they were here to stay. Their influence would permeate every aspect of Egyptian life, from its culture to its architecture, leaving an indelible mark on the land of the pharaohs. Under Roman rule, Egypt experienced a fusion of cultures that shaped its future. The Roman conquest of Egypt in 30 BC was not just a political takeover, but a significant cultural merger that forever altered the course of Egyptian history. This period was marked by a fascinating blend of Roman and Egyptian cultures, creating a unique societal tapestry that still resonates today. The Romans, renowned for their administrative efficiency, brought about significant societal changes. They introduced their language Latin, but also allowed the use of Greek and Egyptian, acknowledging the importance of cultural diversity. This linguistic coexistence is a testament to the Romans' pragmatic approach, allowing for smoother administration and better communication with the locals. In the realm of religion, the Romans displayed remarkable adaptability. They embraced Egyptian gods, incorporating them into their pantheon, thus creating a hybrid religious system. The Roman emperor, seen as a divine entity in Rome, was also portrayed as a pharaoh in Egyptian contexts, further exemplifying this cultural synthesis. The Romans also respected and adopted the Egyptian tradition of mummification, a practice associated with the journey to the afterlife. This adoption illustrates the Romans' willingness to integrate local customs into their own, a strategy that undoubtedly helped in maintaining peace and stability. Politically, the Romans recognized the value of the existing Egyptian administrative structures and, rather than dismantling them, chose to adapt and build upon them. While the Romans brought their own laws and governance style, they also incorporated Egyptian legal traditions, creating a blended system that was both effective and accepted by the locals. Under Roman rule, Egypt became a melting pot of cultures, a place where Roman and Egyptian traditions coexisted and even merged. The Romans' pragmatic approach to ruling, their willingness to adapt, and their respect for the existing culture resulted in a unique societal blend, a fusion that enriched both societies. The Roman rule had firmly woven itself into the fabric of Egyptian society, leaving an indelible mark. The Romans were renowned for their engineering prowess, and Egypt was no exception to their architectural marvels. When we delve into the annals of history, we find that Roman engineering left an indelible mark on the landscape of Egypt. This influence is evident in the remarkable structures that withstood the test of time, echoing the grandeur of Rome even in the heart of the desert. One of the most fascinating examples of Roman engineering in Egypt is the aqueducts. These ingenious structures were designed to transport water from the Nile to the arid regions of the country. The Romans applied their knowledge of hydraulics to master the art of moving water across great distances, using gravity as their ally. They built aqueducts with such precision that even after 2,000 years, some of these structures remain functional. Just as impressive are the Roman bridges scattered across Egypt. These bridges were not just feats of engineering, they were strategically placed to facilitate trade and communication. The Romans harnessed the power of arches, a design still used in modern bridges, to create sturdy, reliable structures that could bear the weight of heavy traffic. But the epitome of Roman influence in Egypt can be seen in the city of Cyrene. Nestled in the Libyan desert, Cyrene was once a vibrant Roman city, brimming with grand architecture. The city was a fusion of Egyptian and Roman cultures, reflected in its many monuments. The Romans adorned Cyrene with a grand amphitheatre, a testament to their love for the arts, and bathhouses that showcased their innovative heating systems. The city was also home to the Temple of Zeus, a colossal structure that rivaled the Parthenon in Athens. This temple, built in the Corinthian style, with its fluted columns and ornate friezes, is a testament to the architectural prowess of the Romans. The Roman engineering marvels in Egypt were not just structures of stone and mortar. They were symbols of the empire's might, the physical embodiment of their knowledge and creativity. Even today, these structures inspire awe and admiration, reminding us of a time when Rome's influence stretched across the known world. These architectural wonders stand as a testament to the Roman influence that pervaded Egypt. Even as empires rise and fall, their legacies continue to echo through the ages. The Roman Empire was no exception. Its influence on ancient Egypt was profound, and its imprint can still be seen today. The Romans, with their superior military tactics and engineering prowess, built numerous forts across Egypt. These forts served not just as defensive structures, but also as important trade and administrative centers. One could say that these forts were the backbone of Roman rule in Egypt, facilitating control over the vast desert landscapes and the bustling Nile River. But the Romans didn't just bring their military might to Egypt, they brought their culture too. The Romans, being pragmatic as they were, did not seek to erase the existing Egyptian culture, but rather chose to integrate it with their own. This integration led to a fascinating blend of Roman and Egyptian cultural elements, visible in the architecture, art, and even religious practices of the time. The city of Cyrene stands as a testament to this blend of cultures, with its Roman-style buildings adorned with Egyptian symbols and motifs. The Roman influence also extended to the governance of Egypt. The Romans introduced a more centralized administrative system which proved to be more efficient than the previous structures. This system not only helped the Romans maintain control over Egypt, but also paved the way for future administrative practices. Finally, the Romans introduced new agricultural techniques and crops that boosted Egypt's economy. They also improved the existing irrigation systems, ensuring a more reliable water supply for the agricultural lands. These advancements in agriculture had a lasting impact, securing Egypt's position as a breadbasket of the Mediterranean even after the fall of the Roman Empire. The Roman influence in Egypt was not just a chapter in history, but a saga that continues to resonate. The Roman legacy in Egypt is a story of cultural integration, administrative efficiency, and agricultural advancement. It's a story that serves as a reminder of how empires, even in their fall, continue to shape the world in unexpected ways. The sands of the Egyptian desert hold stories of times when the might of Rome shaped its destiny. We've journeyed through epochs, traversed the timeline of the Roman conquest and rule, and marveled at the engineering feats that stood as testaments to Roman ingenuity. We've explored the harmonious blend of cultures that resulted from the Roman reign in Egypt, and how their legacy still lingers in the windswept landscapes of this ancient land. As we traced the footsteps of Roman soldiers along the Nile, we discovered the profound effects of Roman architecture and engineering. The aqueducts, the bridges, the forts, all silent witnesses to a time when Rome's influence was stamped onto Egyptian soil. They echo the genius of a civilization that was far ahead of its time, a civilization that left an indelible mark on the world. We ventured into the city of Cyrene, a page from history that encapsulates the Roman-Egyptian cultural fusion, a city that bears witness to the Roman administrative acumen and a testament to the peaceful coexistence of two great civilizations under the Roman rule. The Roman era was not merely a period of conquest and rule, it was an era of influence that sowed the seeds of progress and cultural evolution. The Roman legacy in Egypt is not confined to the remnants of their architectural marvels. It is imbued in the ethos of the land, subtly influencing its course of development. Understanding this Roman influence is akin to piecing together a grand puzzle, a puzzle that reveals the vibrant tapestry of Egyptian history. It helps us comprehend how the past has shaped the present and how it will continue to shape the future. In conclusion, the Roman era was a pivotal chapter in the history of ancient Egypt. It was a time of change, of growth, and of cultural amalgamation. It was an era that left an enduring imprint on the sands of time. As we walk on the sands of Egypt, we tread on layers of history, each telling a tale of civilizations, their rise, their fall, and their enduring influence.
In the 19th century, Egypt stood at the crossroads of time, where the ancient and the modern converged in a dramatic clash. The allure of Egypt's storied past drew travelers from around the world, but this fascination came at a steep cost. The land of the pharaohs faced an unprecedented threat to its archaeological heritage. In this documentary, we embark on a journey through time, unearthing the gripping tale of how Egypt's treasures were imperiled and ultimately safeguarded. As the 19th century unfolded, Egypt's archaeological heritage found itself under siege. The lure of quick fortunes drove Egyptians and foreigners alike to ransack the sacred sites that held the secrets of ancient Egypt. Artifacts, coveted for their historical and monetary value, were pilfered, and the very monuments that had stood for millennia were desecrated. The lucrative antiquities trade led to the widespread quarrying of stones from ancient structures, further eroding Egypt's cultural legacy. Ancient mud bricks known as sebaq became a commodity, stripped from historical sites and repurposed for everyday construction. It was a time of profound peril for Egypt's rich history. In 1858, a pivotal moment in Egypt's history unfolded, when the Viceroy of Egypt recognized the urgent need to protect his nation's archaeological treasures. He took the momentous step of establishing the Antiquities Service, marking the birth of organized conservation efforts in Egypt. Supported by a dedicated team of foreign scholars, Auguste Mariette emerged as a stalwart guardian of Egypt's heritage. His unwavering commitment to preserving the past took him across Egypt and into Nubia, where he intervened on nearly every major archaeological site. Under his leadership, a glimmer of hope began to shine through the encroaching darkness. Auguste Mariette was acutely aware of the need to safeguard Egypt's unearthed artifacts within its borders. In 1858, he passionately advocated for the creation of a dedicated museum, a sanctuary where these treasures could find a permanent home. This museum would go on to become the illustrious Egyptian Museum, now renowned worldwide. Inside its hallowed halls, countless artifacts from Egypt's past are carefully preserved, a testament to Mariette's vision and the enduring importance of Egypt's historical legacy. Following Mariette's tenure, Gaston Mars Perrault assumed the mantle of leadership within the Antiquities Service. Under his guidance, the service expanded and underwent critical reforms. Laws were enacted to regulate the export of priceless artifacts, striking a balance between sharing Egypt's heritage with the world and protecting it from irreparable harm. French scholars continued to guide the Antiquities Service until the 1950s, when the reins were finally handed over to Egyptian hands. The transition marked a new era in the guardianship of Egypt's archaeological treasures. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, Egyptology emerged as a recognized discipline within both private institutions and learned societies. Among its luminaries was Jean-Claude Golvin, a French architect, archaeologist, and researcher whose passion lay in the artistic reconstruction of ancient Egyptian cities and monuments. Golvin's work was nothing short of mesmerizing, encompassing over 800 meticulously detailed drawings. His 3 volumes on the reconstitution of ancient Egypt continue to grace books and museums worldwide, immortalizing the grandeur of Egypt's past for generations to come. The discipline of Egyptology has undergone a profound transformation in the modern era. no longer solely focused on retrieving or inspiring artifacts. Egyptologists have shifted their gaze toward expanding the body of knowledge surrounding ancient Egypt. While excavations in the field continue to be vital, much of Egyptology's progress now unfolds within the quiet confines of libraries and archives. The exploration of ancient texts, historical records, and scientific analysis has become just as crucial as physical excavation, offering new dimensions to our understanding of Egypt's history. The modern era of archaeology in Egypt is marked by a remarkable interdisciplinary approach. Traditional Egyptologists now collaborate with scientists from diverse fields, joining forces to unlock the mysteries of the past. Cutting-edge technologies such as GPS data, satellite imaging, and ground-penetrating radar have revolutionized the way archaeologists operate. These non-invasive techniques allow researchers to peer beneath the Earth's surface, gaining invaluable insights before even breaking ground. The collaboration between experts from various disciplines ensures that Egypt's rich history is explored with the depth and precision it deserves. The story of Egypt's archaeological heritage is a tale of resilience and adaptation. From the plundering threats of the 19th century to the modern era's collaborative, knowledge-driven approach, Egypt's treasures have endured. The sands of Egypt continue to yield their secrets, a testament to the enduring spirit of exploration and discovery. As we conclude our journey through time, we are reminded of the profound importance of preserving the treasures of our past. Egypt's rich history, its enigmatic monuments, and its enduring mysteries continue to captivate the world. It is a legacy that belongs not just to Egypt, but to all of humanity, a testament to the power of knowledge and the enduring quest to unravel the mysteries of our shared history.